Good morning, Dave and Sarah. I hope you're both doing well. I wanted to reach out and give you the August update for Henry. I think things are going very well, although I've had some real challenges. And I'll start with the Henry side of things. From a macro standpoint, I believe Georgia is one of 5 states competing for ARPA-H. And as I've mentioned, maybe in some of my previous videos, I wrote a strategic plan when I created Henry 18 years ago, and the first objective, the most important thing, was to glorify Christ and be a source of hope, health, and healing in His name by connecting the resource with the need, while ministering to the giver and recipient by living the gospel to focus on Christ. But a secondary goal was to make Atlanta the leader in global health innovation. And the AT&T Tower, where the Center for Global Health Innovation is going to be headquartered, is a huge part of that. We've taken the first 250,000 square feet as a community with over 300 of our largest corporations, foundations, nonprofits, and government entities. That's allowed us to be one of 5 states that's competing to be the home of ARPA-H, which will be $1 billion invested a year in health innovation. And that we all subsequently approached the X Prize about doing a spinal cord injury X Prize, because based on the prize purse size, you can on average count on a 20x investment in research and development and innovation and IP development and launch of new companies globally as groups compete to win that prize. So if we did a $100 million prize, for instance, for spinal cord, it'd be a $2 billion impact on research over a 3-year period if that was the duration of the prize, for instance. Whether they solve it, and if they don't solve the problem, you don't release the prize. So we talked to the head of innovation for the VA for the United States, Thomas Osborne, who lives in Palo Alto. We met him through the X Prize, and we're talking to the VA about our clinical trial. So we're very excited about that. And Dr. Osborne seems thrilled to partner with us, and we're going to have a follow-up series of conversations about how to best do that. The Forbes transaction is still in the quiet period, but that we are going to try to move Forbes Healthcare. We also have a very large potential investor who'd like for us to launch a social enterprise platform, Henry Ventures, and then something called the PI Exchange, Positive Impact Enterprise. And that would really ignite a movement of venture philanthropy in the United States. It's sort of a counter-narrative to what's happening with the IRS, with 87,000 new IRS agents, and the assault that's coming on the middle class and the lower class, frankly, as well, in this country, where any payment of $600 or more is going to be considered income. If you sell something you own, if you don't have the receipts, etc. But I think this is going to create a channel for philanthropy as we see the weaponization of the Justice Department and the IRS and other institutions that are going to come against nonprofits, religious organizations that are not part of a woke agenda, quite frankly, which is very sad. Personally, I was up in Kentucky last week for 3 days, meeting with a woman who's 1 semester away, or 1 quarter, I don't know which they're on, from getting her MD from Harvard Medical School. She has, I believe, 2 PhDs in functional medicine, and she was getting the Harvard MD simply to protect her ability to practice medicine. And the Biden administration has slipped through one of these big omnibus bills that nobody reads. They basically put all functional medicine in the United States under the American Medical Association, which will mean her Harvard MD is not good enough to practice functional medicine. Her 2 PhDs do not qualify her to practice functional medicine. She'll have to do another 2 years of certification, study, training, bureaucracy, massive bureaucratic, jumping through massive bureaucratic loops to be able to practice any form of nutrition, diet, functional medicine, diagnostic, holistic approach to care, which somebody like me desperately needs. So we're basically going to shut that down in the entire country, which is very tragic. So there'll only be the traditional approach to medicine, which in my view is basically like just putting a piece of black electrical tape over the check engine light, and we just treat the symptoms. And I've seen that just absolutely in complete focus, no pun intended, with my eye situation with iritis. That's why I was meeting with her, and all traditional medicine wants to do is the cancer equivalent of chemotherapy. They want to shut down my immune system, which opens me up to lupus, to Guillain-Barré, it's a long list. And all the drugs they use have these horrible side effects. And a functional medical specialist can go in and evaluate not only what's happening and go backwards and say, here's what's causing these symptoms, but say, if you don't address these core issues, here's what's coming. And she did that with 3 different areas: black mold infestation in my body, a bacteria that is wrapping tendrils around my organs, particularly pancreas, prostate, and compromising my organs and the function of those organs, particularly the pancreas. And then from eating pork, 4 to 6 different kinds of larvae and worms, basically, like a tapeworm, etc., kind of thing. That just would never be what they're trying to do with traditional medicine, is give me autoimmune blockers, give me steroid drops, which themselves will blind me. The iritis obviously can blind me. I have lost the sight in my right eye, but I can't do surgery to wash out the blood unless I've been free of iritis for 3 months. So it may be a little bit more graphic and personal, but it's exactly the same thing we're facing and trying to combat with spinal cord, where they just, your symptom, your situation is what it is. Here's how we can help you manage the symptoms with these various specialists who won't communicate with each other. And they just dump more and more drugs in your body, and it eventually shuts down your organs and kills you. That's why we have the largest incidence of dialysis in the world. So if you get in the tentacles of the healthcare system, just pulls you in and just shuts down your body. I mean, I had 2 1-gallon bags of Ziplocs of pills that I'm supposed to be taking, and I've weaned myself off of almost all of them. But they had horrendous side effects, and so it's just a dangerous thing to go through the medical system. On a very positive note, Josiah is getting on all 4s now. He can crawl backwards a little bit. He can balance on his feet. Put himself in the chair, in the car, on the mat. He had a dream last night, which he believes, out at 2, was an angel that told him he was going to get 1 body part back, and it was going to reignite the whole system. He believes that's going to be his left foot, which is very, very compromised. So we're excited about all of those breakthroughs, and so grateful to both of you for making it possible. I am very excited about the possibility of Henry Ventures. We have a donor, a potential donor, I should say, that's having a very, very large liquidity event who wants to fund a number of our social enterprise projects. And if that happens, we're going to be in a tremendously positive position. But I just want to thank you for making this clinical trial possible. It looks like we may become not only a center of innovation for the clinical trial to move from UCLA to the University of Southern California with Reggie Edgerton, but also perhaps with the VA as a whole. And that's what we talked to Dr. Osborne about, was being part of bringing the VA into the Georgia Tech Emory collaboration on Emory's billion-dollar neuroscience campus, and the Shepherd Center, which is raising $430 million Ron Stewart, who's moved out to Los Angeles to do our clinical trial because Shepherd was not able to help them and would not help his wife. They tried 5 or 6 times. Shepherd would not do the clinical trial. And they finally tried it one time, didn't hook up the electrodes properly, burned her skin. And they didn't even ask any questions. They just said, see, we told you this wouldn't work. They were just rated the number 7 rehab hospital in America in all categories, which just, and they do a wonderful job with what they do, which is acute injuries and incomplete injuries, but they do not innovate, which they're themselves now recognizing, which is wonderful, which is why they want to partner with us, it seems, through the board, through the head of innovation is coming on the board. There's been a lot of changes, as there are in any organization, with their leadership, which has been very positive in their perspective, and Bernie Marcus's encouragement through Ken Langone to hire a head of innovation, to partner with the private sector. I'm just having an email come through as I'm speaking to you from Thomas Osborne, just saying how excited he is about our conversation yesterday and how grateful he is about working together. So I will keep you posted on the developments with Shepherd, with the VA, with Emory, Georgia Tech. Josiah, I hope, I think I really believe he's probably going to be out of his chair before the end of this year. And I'm so grateful that I was able to make my home available. And I'm grateful to you for making this clinical trial possible. God bless you both. Take good care.